Hey guys, welcome back to the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. We're your hosts, Kevin and Aisha Shelton. And
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Did I interrupt you?
You start out the new year interrupting me.
Didn't
That's
mean
cool.
to.
It's cool.
We can restart.
It's what we do. No. We can't. We cannot restart. So Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm sorry, I was just excited.
Yeah, we had a really boring New Year.
We did.
We literally put the kids down.
I think it was restful.
Did we even watch a ball drop or anything? No. We were like, oh, look, it's midnight. You poured some sparkling cider.
Wasn't I watching episodes of the game?
Yes. And at midnight, you poured sparkling cider and we toasted.
We did.
We so whack.
I'm living my best life.
Me
I'm not
too.
whack. So
I mean, stereotypically speaking, we're whack.
no, it's fine. So what are we talking about? Because I'm so excited about this topic.
Okay, because you're jumping out your skin.
I am. I'm happy. We had a late night conversation. So we were up till 1 last night or this morning talking about this topic, and I thought it was a really good topic to bring to the podcast. But do you want to talk about it?
Sure. So Kevin came up with this analogy that really just like lit a fire under me, literally. And it was the analogy of a spark, a fire, and a log.
Yep.
And how you can have success on a team, whether that team be a marriage or your business or whatever kind of organization you are working with. Marriage is an organization, right? Institutional organization.
Mm-hmm.
And how those three personality types is what we identified them to be, work together and work well together. And so we just were, literally excited looking at the people that are in our lives and the people that work in our businesses and that are our colleagues, and who's a spark, who's a fire, who's a log, and how they maximize because of their personality type.
And the funny thing is, without being able to recognize the traits in each person, you kind of go through life blind to what kind of personality you are.
Yeah.
Right. And it's only through that self-discovery process that you figure out, hey, I'm a fire, or hey, I'm a spark, or hey, I'm a log. It almost comes through making mistakes, being something that you shouldn't be, that you end up where you should be.
Here's where it simplified it for me, because, when we take these personality tests, most notably the DISC, and then there's other very complicated personality tests. Now, I remember giving my staff the DISC assessment and then getting the report and not knowing how to read it, how to implement it, how to utilize the information. And I felt like I needed a whole trainer, person, interpreter for this DISC assessment and how I should apply it to my business and how this person applies to my business. But you simplified it down to like 3 things. And I was like, oh my God, you're a genius. And I already feel like you're a genius, no lie. But this was another one of your genius moments.
I'm just a fire.
You are my fire.
So let's break it down. So the first we'll start off with is a spark, right? And the reason that we kind of realized our particular alignment is because Aisha's always the ideator, always the person with the big ideas, the big vision. And this conversation started, it was a conversation honestly about you. It was a conversation about how to maximize your potential in your gifts, in your God-given gifts, right?
Yep.
And I just remember being so frustrated trying to communicate something to you. I was like, I just want you to get it. I want you to understand that, like, if you just do this one thing that you're so good at, you don't need to do nothing else because this is so big versus, you're spending all your time doing a bunch of other stuff that doesn't help you as much.
Yeah.
So that's where the concept of a spark came from. And a spark is because a spark is like an idea. So if you think about a car, right? A car can't drive without a spark plug.
Yep.
But a spark plug only does one thing. All it does is spark. And the entire combustion engine runs off that spark. No spark, no car, no driving, no nothing, right? And it's the same thing with the team. It's the same thing with leadership. It's the same thing with a business or a marriage. Somebody has to have that idea, that initial idea to go, we can do this. We can live this way. We can go to this place. And that person is the spark. So that personality trait is what we now like to call a spark.
A spark. A spark is an innovator. A spark is somebody when they put their brain on something, this long conceptualized plan comes out of it, right? One of the limitations of the spark, and I think we should be able to talk about,
for sure.
benefits and limitations. One of the limitations of a spark is that they are not an actuator.
They're not an executor.
They're not an executor. Is that a word, actuator? Google it. They're not an executor, right? And so for me as a spark, I would seriously devalue myself because I'm like, man, I got all of this stuff inside of me. And I felt like that wasn't good enough because I wasn't executing on it. I wasn't moving on it. Now, the one thing we realized in our union is that I'm an ideator, you're an executor, right? And so we have this fire between us, this relationship that creates Marriage and Real Estate, Park Street Homes, the Aisha Shelton team, all these things that we're achieving in life, charitable events, and all of these things that we do in our amazing life because I have the ideation, you have the execution, and it's just a beautiful marriage, right? In so many different ways. But for me, I didn't feel valuable enough. While I recognized that you couldn't be who you were without me, and I also recognize that I couldn't be who I am without you in this most, realized state. In some situations, I don't recognize who I am and my value as a spark.
So I want to really dive deep into spark, but I want to define fire so that we can talk about how the two work together. So fire is a self-starter. This is the creative. This is the executor. This is the person who gets the ball rolling, starts to get the job done, right? Now, they can't do everything, but they take massive action to make the ideas that the spark comes up with a reality, right? And the reason I wanted to define that is I wanted to talk about one of the most pivotal relationships that's changed all of our lives, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Steve Jobs was a spark. Steve Wozniak was a fire.
Okay, I got another one. Michelle Obama and Barack Obama.
Exactly.
Michelle
Obama is a spark. Barack
Obama
is a fire.
Is a big fire.
Now,
right?
Barack Obama, you think, oh man, he's so great, he's the man. But really, the power behind, the fist in the glove is Michelle.
And
Obama.
if you read any of their books, any of Michelle's books, any of Barack's books, you realize that, right? You realize, and he gives her all the credit when he gets on a stage. Similar to how you give me credit for the value that I have in your life. Whenever he gets on a stage, he's always like, "It's Michelle." Like y'all see me, but it's Michelle.
Because here's the thing: a fire without a spark don't do nothing.
There is no fire without a spark. And that's not to say that you won't do good things in your life, but you'll do amazing things when you have the right spark, which is a good analogy to marriage and dating, right? If there's any single people watching this episode right now, identify which one of these you are. And we haven't gotten to log yet, so that means you need to keep listening. Kevin and I'm a spark, he's a fire. A fire and a spark, we get together, we're blazing trails. If you look up our biographies, we're blazing trails, right? And so if you're a spark, make sure that you get with somebody who executes in your marriage. That's the kind of partner that you want. That's the kind of partner that's going to take you where you want to go in your marriage and real estate dreams. If you put two sparks together,
it just burn each other out.
You just two sparks sparking, and nobody's carrying those sparks to fruition.
Nobody's igniting the flame.
Nobody's igniting the flame. And the same thing for two flames, right?
No, true.
You got two people that's just going, boom, boom. They both can execute.
So
but
this is a good time to define the log.
Yes.
Because a fire without logs is nothing.
All right, go ahead.
Because here's the thing about a log. A log is consistent, reliable, dedicated. They might not have the vision, but they're the reason that you're able to execute the vision because you can count on this team player to carry the ball through, right? Like if you looked at a football team, the spark is the QB. The fire is the offensive line, but the log is the defensive line. Right? So literally, I can go make a touchdown, but if somebody's not protecting us, they're going to score on us all the time. Right. So the log is the defensive player. The log is the steady Freddy, the one making sure that, hey, somebody got to be here to turn on lights. Somebody got to be here to turn them off. Because the flame, the fire is just gone.
Yeah.
Fire's like, hey man, I'm burning. But if you've ever had a campfire, you know without more logs, what happens with your campfire?
Fire gonna burn out.
Fire burns out.
Because your fire, and this is really, really good, you are a fire.
I am a fire.
And in the business that we have, you're on fire. But we don't have enough logs in that fire right now.
So I'm burning
and you are burning out. Golly, that's so crazy.
I'm telling
just
you.
way too excited.
But so you get started with the spark.
Yes.
You carry it forward with the fire, but you got to keep introducing logs into your team, into your life, into your family, into all these different situations to keep the fire going. And at the end of the day, it's all of these personality types that build a successful life, right? So when we look at our life now, we would not be able to be who we are without the logs that support us, right? Without the care, whether it's parents or extended family, nannies, school for the children, you know what I mean? The mechanic, like all the things that support our life, we need those people to be there or else we wouldn't be able to be who we are, right? Like if this podcast wouldn't get recorded, let me tell you, because there was a period of time when we were recording this, and as a true fire, I burnt out.
Right.
And I was like, okay, I got 10 episodes in me, and you burned out.
As a true spark, I sparked the idea, but that was all I got.
Woo! She was
when
like,
your fire burnt out, we were really in trouble until we got the studio as a log, right?
Exactly.
And so finding the logs in your life and filling that gap. Fill in the gap of, so you have a marriage, that's two people.
Yep.
That's a either, for us, that's a spark and a fire. Maybe you're a fire and a log, right?
Mm-hmm.
So who's gonna fill in those gaps for that missing piece in this dynamic team for success? I'm thinking about it in our businesses too. I'm like, oh man, I need a this or I need a that. I can very easily tell what I'm missing on my team and in my business because of this analogy of fire.
I mean, it just works for every situation. I mean, when you think about it, yes, you need all three players, but how you use those players determines your outcome.
And where they come in at, right? So like we're out here, Mac, you do stories, Instagram stories all the time. We in the office. It's like 8, 9 o'clock at night, right? Like who's with our children? Who made sure that the kids were bathed, fed, put to bed at a decent time, that the homework is done? It's the help that we have, and that help is our log.
I'm not a homework dad.
But even down to where we are in our life, meals and meal prepping, there's a lot. We just fill those spaces with the right people, and that comes with trial and error too. Like you be like, oh, this is what I need, until it's not, and then you realize you need to make a change, but you know exactly what you're looking for now. Simplify.
And you know how to identify it, right?
Yes.
You know the way to categorize the skill set and the traits, right? Because at the end of the day, you're about building a comprehensive team. That's the definition of success, right? Success is the ability to do something that you want to achieve, right? Achieve a particular outcome in the way that you want to, right? Ultimately. So when I look at what's a model of success in our life, it's being able to live the life of our dreams, run businesses, have the financial means, be able to satisfy not only homeowners and, investors and things like that, but also be able to build something that means something to us. But we need a lot of logs in that.
We do.
You know what I mean? Because it's very hard to build a big fire without a lot of logs.
And when we didn't have logs,
oh man, the fire was small.
It was not only was the fire small, it would wax and wane, right? Man. You get a log.
Because fires aren't consistent.
Yeah.
That's not one of the traits.
Yeah.
The traits aren't consistent. It's execution, right? So you can only execute as long as you have the fire, literally, to execute it. Once that burns out, you go, oh, all right, I'm done with this. And you see people move on.
Okay.
It's the same thing with the spark. A spark can have a great idea, but it'll never do anything with it without a fire to carry it forward. Yeah. So, for the couples out there, look at your partnership and see where you fall into place, right? See if you're a fire, if you're a spark, if you're a log, because that would make the difference between how you attack wealth building in your life, right? If you're a log married to a fire, Y'all just need to align yourself with the right idea, the right spark to carry you forward, right? You say, okay, I believe in this. I believe in this. One of the reasons Dave Ramsey's movement has gotten so big is Dave Ramsey is a spark.
Yeah.
Right. So he's ignited all these people to follow in this belief. So people who are just working their jobs and whatever, you might be a fire and you might be married to a log and y'all are following the idea of a spark bigger than you.
Let me have my Willow Smith moment.
Is that a Willow Smith moment?
Yeah, Willow Smith sits at the table.
Oh, at the red table talk?
Yeah, she goes,
Yeah, that shows how much a fire I am. I was season 1. I have burned off.
No, but also here's another opportunity I just identified. And this is me thinking about other couples that are in our lives that do what we do and where there may be some misalignments or even some battles. It's because they're not playing their roles, right? So you might have a spark that's trying to be a fire. And so that couple is in constant battle between one another because the fire is trying to do what the fire needs to do and the spark is trying to be a fire too. And so there's this misalignment. And when you identify who you are and where your skills are best served, it's very easy to pick a lane, right? It's like, I'm a spark. So that I don't even need to do that. Like, I don't.
But see, that's what I was telling you last night.
You know who I'm thinking about? Don't say no names.
No.
Okay, well, I'll tell you later.
Okay. But so that's what That's what I was telling you last night. You create so much anxiety trying to be something else.
Yeah.
Right? You feel bad. You want to perform as if you're this other thing.
As if I'm a fire.
When you just really need to focus on what you got. You don't need to be a fire. You don't need to be a log. You just need to be a spark. And if you maximize your sparkiness, everybody can benefit.
Yeah.
And if I maximize my fire, a whole lot of logs can carry forth the journey, right? And then it gives the logs consistency, income, lifestyle, all the things that you want from being a log and supporting a fire. And the fire is supporting the spark.
And let me just say this. I feel like we've given a lot of like positive credit to being a spark or a fire, but there's so much value in being a log too. And there's a lot to be extracted from being a log too. So I don't want anybody to listen to this and identify themselves as like, oh man, I'm a log. Like,
no, none of these are bad things.
Yeah, they're all amazing qualities, personalities to have, but just recognizing where you fit, it also makes your journey in life so much easier, right? Because how many times are we struggling to be better at something that we aren't good at? And when you identify what you're good at, you go, okay, this is really easy. This is really comfortable. I can stay here for the rest of my life. Like, this is a good place for me to be. It's less friction when you are operating in your purpose per se or in your personality type.
You know, we've met so many couples over the years that, you know, one person is deep in their career or they really enjoy their job and one person's like itching. They're like, man, I got to do something different. I got to whatever. And the person who enjoys their job is like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go to work. I want to come home. I want to enjoy my life. I want to travel when I want to travel. I want to have the means to travel when I want to travel. I don't like all this variation.
Yeah.
Right. That person is a log because they're consistent. They're dependable. They're not flash in the pan. They're going to be there. They're going to make sure they hold it down.
Yep.
And that's what a log does. A log is the reason that everybody's able to do the things they need to do. It's the foundation of it all. Right. If a spark is the top and a fire is in the middle, a log is foundation.
Yeah.
Everybody needs that stability in their life. Everybody needs the base to operate.
And when you don't have that, you don't have that in your life, these other pieces, these other components, this fire, this spark, just like a house, you can have beautiful framework, but if that frame is crap, right?
Foundation.
If that foundation, thank you. If that foundation is crap, as beautiful as that is, it's going to not
fall down.
Yeah.
And then if you don't have a roof or, exterior elevation, it's the same thing. So you need all these pieces.
Yeah.
Right. So the most exciting thing from the conversation was literally the identification of who you are, who I am, and how we work together. Right. So what are some of the ways that we can share with the audience to make sure that people are maximizing their relationship? So if the first is identifying who you are and what you are. And everybody has some sparky traits. Everybody has some log traits, right? These blend just like all the other personality tests. But how do you identify if you're a log, if you're a fire, if you're a spark? If you're the visionary, right? If you're the one who always has the great idea, but you don't necessarily have the skills or the ability to execute it, you may be a spark, right? If you're always the one who carries the football forward, you're the one who gets the team started, you load the car, you
always
make sure.
Gonna get the job
always
done.
Gonna
figure out how to get the job
figure
done.
out how to do it. Any challenge, bring it on.
Yeah.
You're the fire.
Yes.
And if you're the one holding everybody down, making sure, hey, we got batteries for the flashlights, we're prepared for where we go, and what's the idea? You're the one that, if it's Christmas dinner, you're gonna bring the plates and the cups and the napkins and make sure everybody got what they need. Right. I might make a bomb potato salad, but we ain't got nothing to serve it on, right. Nothing to drink, nothing to whatever. You're the one to make sure that it all comes together.
Yes.
You're a log. So what are some of the other ways that people can work together?
I think even with working together, one of the things that I think about is finding your holes that are in either your marriage or your family, or that are in your business, and fill those holes. So once you identify who everybody is, find out what's missing.
Yep.
Because imagine how much better your marriage could be, how much better your family could be, or your business could be when you have each of those people or those groups of people functioning in their highest and best self.
And I honestly think, how much money can you make if you're just doing your job really well?
Ooh, so much money.
Like if you are the best log that you can be, if you're the best spark that you can be, and you bring that value to other people, you know what I mean? And I tell you this all the time. If you just share your ideas with people, millions of dollars in ideas, right? Mm-hmm. And you don't have to be the one to execute it, because sometimes people can't see that. Yep. Our whole life is built off your ideas. This podcast right now, the reason we're on this mic is from a spark named Aisha, right? So it's the same thing for all the other people out there. If you got that best idea, partner with the people who can bring that idea forth. It's not your job to have all the answers. It's your job to initiate the conversation and bring the other people to the table.
Yeah. We also started this podcast because we would have bomb-ass conversations like this and be like, dang, somebody needs to hear this. This is good.
No.
And so here we are sharing this is good conversation and bringing it to y'all, and hope y'all get as excited as we are about how simple it is, and also how cathartic it was to be like, oh my God, it was that easy. I'm that? Okay, cool. So I need that? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Now, so the one thing I want to do is see people maximize.
Yeah.
I want you to maximize your teams. I want you to maximize your relationships, maximize your opportunity, maximize this podcast by subscribing and following us on all the social media platforms, and smashing that like button and the notification bell for whenever our new weekly episodes come out.
One of these days, that's not going to be funny, and I'm just be like,
But no, I think that this is an amazing conversation. I'd love to get more couple feedback from it. Please drop comments down to let us know. In conclusion, we want you all to be the best versions of whatever you are, whether you're a spark, whether you're a fire, whether you're a log. Literally blow it up, maximize. 2023 is here. It is time to take it to the next level, take your life to the next level, take your team to the next level, take your marriage to the next level, and work with your partner to get the best out of not only this year, but the rest of your life. So this has been the Marriage and Real Estate Podcast. Hi, Spark.
Hey, Fire.
We out.